Hey everyone!
Hola a todos!
This is Jahaira.
And this is Stephanie, and welcome to Cuento Crimen podcast.
Y aquí on the Cuento Crimen podcast, we are a true crime podcast and we bring a new case every Wednesday.
Cada miércoles.
And these are cases that don't get much media attention, so chances are you haven't heard of some of these cases.
And we cover these cases in Spanglish.
Así que agarra a tu abuelita, tu abuelito, tu mamá, tu papá, a quien tú gustes, and come join us every Wednesday for a new true crime case. So, Aimee Garcia tenía 26 años and she was married to 31-year-old Cesar Ivan Torres, and they were parents to 4 beautiful children.
And a little bit before they got married, ellos se conocieron in high school. Aimee was 16 years old when they met each other and started a relationship.
And like in every relationship, it was all good until at some point the relationship wasn't so happy anymore. Aimee's family sospechaba de que ella estaba pasando por una relación abusiva. They believed that she was a victim of domestic violence, but she didn't want to speak up about it, or at least she wasn't speaking up about it.
There was one instance que Aimee fue al hospital to get some stitches, but there was no report made about like domestic violence when this incident happened. And so when this happened, la tía de Aimee, que se llama Angie, told her as they were leaving the hospital to speak up that she didn't want to end up identifying her body one day.
That gave me like the goosebumps, you know? And it seems like Aimee never reported anything because she was afraid to lose her children. And I feel like this fear is very common cuando, you know, te quieres dejar de esta pareja abusiva. And it's understandable, like the fear of losing your child is a big one and a scary one. But I don't know, I think like hablando con la verdad and showing facts always kind of speaks louder, right? And we have to remember que, I don't know, so like it's difficult because like you said, like, there's a system that's going to help you, but we've also seen this system fail people.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You see it like on social media where like the abuser only gets like very limited time, like very little time, like 6 months or something like that. And it's like, that's not granting the other person's safety at all.
Not at all, yeah.
So it is tricky, and it's a valid feeling to feel afraid.
Y Angie, la tía de Aimee, actually worked at a battered and pregnant woman's shelter. And so she secured a spot for Aimee and, you know, kind of just animándola. Like, this is not a good spot to be in. Pero Aimee decidió no ir.
It's tough. It's a tough decision to take. And earlier in the episode, we did mention that Aimee was a mom. She was a mom to 4 kids, and she was all about them. Like, her whole life was about them. Her whole life revolved around her boys. All her kids were under 8 years old, so that they were small. We did see comments that Aimee didn't have parent figures growing up. And although she didn't have that, like, role model on how to be a parent, Aimee is described to be a great mom.
Yeah, I think we read que su mamá fue deportada cuando ella solo era una bebé y su padre se fue. But we don't know much detail of her childhood, how that was being separated from her mom, or who really was there for her upbringing.
El 12 de agosto del año 2021, Aimee Garcia's family received news that took them by surprise. They received the news that Aimee was killed in a wrong-way driving collision in Encino, California.
Her husband drove their Lincoln SUV into oncoming traffic on the 101 near the 405 freeway. And by the way, we're not very familiar with this location, but just in case anyone knows. And so he ended up crashing into a tractor trailer.
Unfortunately, toda la familia estaba en este carro. And this includes the couple Aimee y Cesar y sus 4 hijos. When authorities arrived to the scene, they saw that the children had minor injuries, but they were still hospitalized para asegurarse que todo estaba bien.
Yeah. Y después del choque, Cesar se fue de la escena, but was arrested after he fought with a California Highway Patrol officer. And the officers had to use a taser to arrest him, so él también was resisting the whole thing. Aimee was taken out of the car by firefighters y después, desafortunadamente, was pronounced dead. While all this is happening, the children and Cesar were taken to the UCLA Ronald Reagan Hospital.
Juan Garcia, el hermano de Aimee, hizo unos comentarios. He said that a couple hours before the accident, César, el esposo de Aimee, la había llamado y había hecho unos comentarios, very worrisome comments. Él dice que César le dijo que Dios había hablado con él y que le había dicho que él tiene que darle su familia a Dios.
Y Juan reaccionó y le preguntó, what are you talking about, right? Le dijo que no era tiempo de que su familia tenía que ir con Dios, it was not their time. But that was the end of the conversation, and Juan sí se quedó preocupado y trató de comunicarse con César or just kind of get a hold of him and see what was really happening, maybe calm him down. But at this point, no one was answering his phone calls.
I think that's so scary to hear those comments as a brother. It's like your sister, right, on the other line. Y sabes que, there's 4 little kids involved. And también, habíamos dicho en el episodio que había sospecha que, maybe Aimee was in a abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Entonces, escuchar estos comentarios is okay, what's going on? Why has this escalated to something so extreme?
And I think that's the worst, after some worrisome comments and then you get no answer. It's the worst feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And later, after the accident, Juan habló con su sobrino César de 8 años. El niño le platicó lo que pasó. He said that they were in the SUV and that his parents empezaron a discutir y que por esa razón they kind of lost control of the steering wheel. And in that conversation with his nephew, the little boy said, "Mommy saved us." He said that his mom fought until the last second until the crash.
That breaks my heart.
Imagine as a child, just watching that all go down and you have no control, but you feel all this fear, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, and este niño, he's gonna grow up remembering this memory forever. Mommy saved us. She fought to the end until the crash. That is life-changing. That is something that just changes you.
Trauma. It's trauma that they're gonna have to go with for the rest of their life.
And even more sadness to this. Juan said that he's so devastated to have lost his sister, pero él dice que now he has 4 sobrinos and that he has 4 parts of her still.
Makes my heart hurt.
I know.
It's kind of like that TikTok trend that says when I'm gone, look for me and whatever. And a lot of people put their children, and it's well, yeah, if you think about it, if you don't look at my son, you're going to see me and him. Well, I hope you do.
Yeah. So, I would cry.
The husband, César Iván Torres, according to Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, faces multiple charges, including 1 count of murder and 4 counts of each attempted murder and child abuse, in addition to assault and resisting arrest.
Her family classified this as domestic violence, especially with her history. They just said that Aimee was too afraid to speak up.
And I think, if you look at it, okay, sí fue un accidente de carro, pero ¿por qué tuvieron ese accidente? They were fighting. And she was, de lo que dijo el niño and everything, I can picture her kind of okay, trying to get control back, and I can picture him kind of just still mad. I don't know. It's I'm just assuming. But the next comment really got us. Su tía de Aimee dijo, "I cut her umbilical cord, and now I'm planning her funeral services." It's heartbreaking.
Right? The people we talk about in these cases, they have family and it does affect everyone.
Or also just the comment that we made at the very beginning, que she didn't want to be put in this situation. Watching her sobrina just, be a victim of this. Y es lo que pasó.
Angie saw her grow up, saw her become a mother, and then to be the one planning her funeral services, it's a lot.
The family wants to keep the 4 siblings together as they should. Ellos no tienen la culpa de lo que pasó. So Juan, el hermano de Aimee, is making efforts to be their guardian.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Juan sounds like an amazing person to step up, right? And the family was able to raise $70,000. And the family is really thankful, really grateful for the community coming together and helping them raise that much money. We did exchange messages with Angie, and she does have a message to everyone out there. She encourages people, young women, to speak up and get help. There is help. The grass is greener on the other side.
And also, como dice Steph, like, life is not a video game. You only have one.
I do say that. So yeah, my advice is to just like be selfish and get what you want out of life, because we're really only here once. We don't get redos.
Amen.
So we do want to include the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The phone number is 800-799-7233.
Por si alguien escuchando este episodio necesita esa información, esta es la línea directa nacional de violencia doméstica. 800-799-7233. Como dijimos, you're in control of your life, and if you are going through this and you feel alone, you're not. You have Steph and I, and we're always willing to help. Like we always say, our DMs are always open for requests, but they're open if anyone ever needs to talk or just anything, you know? We're here. Somos amiguis.
Thank you so much to listening to this week's episode. We are so thankful for everyone tuning in. Muchas gracias, and we'll see you all next week.